Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, here to give you my official movie review for the sequel to 2015's Kingsman: The Secret Service. This one being titled Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Now, director Matthew Vaughn has made his return, as well as a lot of cast members from the first film, and we did get a lot of really new good cast members for this film too as well. So I think that overall, in terms of the returning cast members as well as the introduction of new cast members for this film, I thought that that was very, very well handled, and I think everyone for the most part did a really good job with their parts. Now, in terms of the plot, without going into too many spoilers, this movie takes place after the events of the first film, in which Eggsy has officially taken over the role of Galahad. But he's immediately attacked by members of the secret organization, and after a very, very thrilling action scene, all of the members of the Kingsmen are completely wiped out. Their bases, their agents, their resources are completely wiped out, and the only two members are Eggsy and Merlin, and in order to enter their Doomsday Protocol, they have to actually travel to the States and team up with their American counterparts known as the Statesmen. And that's really all I want to say without going into too many spoilers. Now, I would just like to say this right now. I absolutely loved the first Kingsman. This was probably the biggest surprise hit of 2015 and was a serious contender for Movie of the Year. And going into this year, this too was a serious contender for Movie of the Year. I would say outside of Dunkirk and War of the Planet of the Apes, this was my most anticipated movie, or technically it was the third most anticipated movie of this year. So it kind of pains me to say this, but I was a bit disappointed with this film. Now, I just want to state right now that I did not hate this film, but it had a tendency of doing two major problems. And that was, one, trying to recreate something that happened in the first film, or a story element or a character, but not executed nearly as well, and repeating the same mistake of getting rid of characters or not developing them enough to really satisfy my interests. I mean, it even did the cardinal sin of killing off my favorite character in the film for no good reason. I mean, to go into a little bit of spoilers, but about middle section of the first film, Harry, the primary character, actually gets killed. And that was a major shock for me, because I was kind of expecting him to kind of make it to the end of the film. I can understand taking him out of the way or incapacitating him so Eggsy saves the world, but to actually kill him really upset me. And to continue going on with my point of having elements about this film recreated but not done as well, it got a little bit distracting. For example, Julianne Moore's Poppy I should say, is a good villain in her own right, but she doesn't hold a candle to Samuel L. Jackson's Valentine. You have a character in this movie who's actually a character from the first film who has a gimmick of having a robotic arm, but that doesn't nearly come as close to the side villain who had like blades for legs. And the action scenes in this movie are good, but they're not nearly as good as the action scenes in the first film. And another problem that this movie has is kind of how they handle members of the Statesmen. If you guys were expecting to see a lot of Channing Tatum, you might want to take a step back, because he's hardly in this film, and they don't really do much with the Statesmen themselves. And I kind of had the feeling that maybe they were cutting parts of this movie out, and it turned out there was actually a cut of this movie that was like an hour longer. I mean, this movie is like 2 hours and I believe 11 minutes long, so the fact that there is apparently a 3-hour cut, hopefully there's going to be a director's cut being released when this comes out that I do want to see, because I did feel that parts of this movie were taken out. Now, not doing too much complaining, I will go into what I really did like about this film. The movie was at its strongest when they took an element or a story or a plot point or a character from the first film and continued without repeating the storyline. For example, there is a plot line in this film where Eggsy is dating a character from the first film, and they're in an official relationship, and to see the relationship kind of develop throughout the film, I thought was a good thing. That was an example of how you handle a storyline from the previous film and have it continue on in this film without needing to recreate it or tell the story again. Overall, how I feel about Kingsman: The Golden Circle is that though it's a decent sequel on its own, it's not nearly as good as the first film. And as I was really excited for a sequel after seeing Kingsman Secret Service, this one I'm a little bit cautious of. And if there is a third film, I hope they learn from the mistakes of this film and actually try to develop these storylines instead of either getting rid of characters that they don't need to, trying to repeat storylines or story elements from the previous film, or simply just not giving us enough time to really develop or even get to know these characters. So with that, if I had to give Kingsman Secret Service a rating, this pains me to do this because I really like the first one. I was really looking forward to seeing this film, and out of any movie in my top 10 most anticipated movies list, this is the only movie that has somewhat disappointed me. And I have to give Kingsman: The Golden Circle a C+. Now, if you did enjoy the first film, I do implore that you go see this movie for yourself. Maybe you will enjoy it a little bit more than I did, but this is probably something I might not want to see again. Maybe if I catch it on late night television or catch it on TV. But if they do decide to do a third one, I really want them to learn from their mistakes. And if there's a director's cut of this film, I do want to see it because I did feel that there were large portions of this film that were taken out. Now, if you like my movie review for Kingsman: The Golden Circle, please feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe. Check me out my future movie reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.